Anything I'm saying is only what I've learned from my Guru Dev Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. He has given us a wealth of wisdom about how to think about spirit, about nature within the context of spirit. And so our approach to science, which is the empirical study of nature, is understanding spirit as the ground of nature. But the specific talk I'll be giving today is called The Danger of AI, Atrophied Intelligence, and the Importance of Responsible Agency. I only have one slide to share at the very end, so I'm going to just share the actual paper in case you'd like to read along with me, because I'll try to go at a quick pace. So,
okay. I didn't have my key.
The saying, "If you don't use it, you lose it," may serve as an unsuspecting yet relevant nugget of wisdom to inspire how to responsibly utilize artificial intelligence in a manner that supports and enhances natural intelligence. The rapid speed and authority with which AI computes decisions sometimes causes individuals to forfeit their own thought processes. In certain circumstances, such as the deployment of autonomous weapons to defend against ambushes during military operations, relying on AI seems justifiable. However, in less extreme and dire circumstances, relinquishing our ability to thoughtfully make decisions in favor of seeking the convenience of algorithmic certainties can be detrimental to people as individuals and as a collective society. As demonstrated below, when people feel that they no longer are responsible agents, that they would not be held accountable for certain outcomes of their actions, the ethics and morality by which they make decisions change. When people are not held personally responsible for their activities in society, they tend to make more self-centered decisions. As part of an initiative by the MIT Sloan Management Review, exploring how technology is reshaping the practice of management, Christine Moser, Frank Denhond, and Dirk Lindenbaum offer the following advice. Instead of worrying about futuristic sci-fi nightmares, we should instead wake up to an equally alarming scenario that is unfolding before our eyes. We are increasingly, unsuspectingly, yet willingly abdicating our power to make decisions based on our own judgment, including our moral convictions. What we believe is right risks becoming no longer a question of ethics, but simply what the correct result of a mathematical calculation is. How can we capture the undeniable benefits of these smart machines without mistaking the machine's abstraction for the whole story and delegating to AI the complicated and consequential decisions that should be made by humans? The problem is less the machines than we ourselves. AI does not and cannot serve its own final end. So-called artificial intelligence always serves the ends of natural intelligence, i.e., the desires and purposes of human beings. The danger of artificial intelligence has nothing to do with AI per se, but with how it apparently displaces responsible agency from humans to machines. When people misconceive AI machines to be responsible agents, studies show that they are more willing to act in their own self-interest. 5 studies revealed that participants considered harm to a pedestrian more permissible with an AV, an autonomous vehicle, as compared to the self as the decision agent in a regular car. This shift in moral judgments was driven by the attribution of responsibility to the AV and was observed for both severe and moderate harm, and when harm was real or imagined. However, the effect was attenuated when 5 pedestrians or a child could be harmed. These findings suggest that AVs can change prevailing moral norms and promote an increased self-interest among consumers. This has relevance for the design and policy issues relating to AVs. It also highlights the moral implications of autonomous agents replacing human decision makers. It is widely accepted that Aristotle has provided the necessary criteria for being a responsible agent. You are responsible if 1, you do it or have done it, if you are the agent of the action, if you have caused the action, if you have a sufficient degree of control over the action, and 2, if you know what you are doing, if you are aware what you are doing or knew what you were doing. Aristotle argued in the Nicomachean Ethics that the action must have its origin in the agent, and that one must not be ignorant of what one is doing. Artificially intelligent machines may immediately appear to be responsible for their actions, since we observe the machine doing the action, which causes some positive or negative reaction in the environment. However, deeper mediated thought allows us to see that the machine has no actual awareness of what it is doing, and that some unseen influence is directing it. If you ask the robot, why did you do that? It can only answer that this was the proper response to the situation at hand, based on the programmed logic, priorities, and goals of the algorithm that governs its AI behavior. It has no capacity to understand or navigate the dynamic circumstances of holistic experiences, like particular social contexts that influence the nuances of ethical behavior, such as hydroplaning while driving and choosing between hitting and injuring a child or an adult pedestrian, or hitting a tree and damaging your car. Further, AI is not able to harness stochasticity, an unpredictable experience, to create novel solutions to problems. Only living conscious entities have such capacities. Biologist and medical ethicist Raymond Noble and emeritus professor of cardiovascular physiology Dennis Noble describe stochasticity in organisms. Faced with unusual challenges in their environments, organisms have to make new choices to survive. The question addressed in this paper is how such choices can be creative and non-deterministic. We argue, by analogy, with the immune system, which faces a similar difficulty when a new antigen invades the organism, and for which it does not have the relevant DNA sequence to make an antibody with the correct shape. The immune system responds by rapidly mutating the variable part of the immunoglobulin sequence until, by chance, a cell evolves which does have the DNA sequence for an immunoglobulin with the correct shape. Stochasticity is therefore used to generate novelty. We speculate that by harnessing stochasticity in their nervous systems and other systems, organisms can similarly generate novel behavioral responses to meet the unusual challenge. To the extent that dreaming is a function that exhibits chaos-like stochastic properties that are highly sensitive to internal influences, 19th century German chemist August Kekule's dream of a snake eating its own tail, serving as the aha moment for realizing the ring structure of benzene, may also be seen as a clear example of how human beings can utilize unpredictable experiences to solve problems. While the behavior and performance of many machine learning algorithms are referred to as stochastic, the functional multi-level harnessing process must also be reproduced if artificial intelligence is ever to surpass natural intelligence. This, however, does not seem likely. By abnegating their ability to make responsible decisions from which the circumstances of our lives are largely determined, people condition themselves towards ignorance and become vulnerable to unfavorable manipulation. The danger of artificial intelligence lies in its capacity to be another scapegoat for those who have succumbed to the comfort and convenience, to those who have succumbed to comfort and convenience, and as a result are rendered blind by atrophied intelligence. Thus, if you don't use it, the capacity of natural intelligence to exercise compassion, consider contextuality, purpose, etc., abilities that are beyond computational decision-making, you lose it. If modern society insists upon advancing AI technologies, then sufficient care, attention, and resources should be invested in educating the public about the categorical differences between artificial and natural intelligence. The rapid pace at which sophisticated technology and massive amounts of information are made publicly accessible is overwhelming to a society that lacks sufficient knowledge and realization about the purpose of life. This reveals the necessity for non-sectarian spiritual education. Eastern and Western religions and wisdom traditions almost unanimously agree that the purpose to life is to sincerely engage in self-inquiry. Ancient Greek wisdom begins from this point, where the aphorism "Noti Satan," meaning know thyself, was inscribed above the temple of Apollo at Delphi. Vedic wisdom also begins from here. In 16th century Bengal, India, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by the learned scholar Sri Sanatana Goswami, "Ke ami," meaning who am I? This mode of inquiry followed the example established by the first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, which advises atato brahma jigyasa. Now, therefore, inquire about Brahman, where Brahman means spirit. It may be said that the highest utilization and fulfillment of our capacity to be responsible agents lies in self-inquiry. If we do not know who we are or what purpose we serve, then how can we truly make proper decisions? Individuals who succumb to the comfort and convenience of living for the sake of self-centered, independent enjoyment, i.e. maximizing their own sense gratification, or what Plato referred to as overly indulging the appetites, these people are also rendered blind by atrophied intelligence. This is the plane of exploitation, where perpetual suffering is experienced due to the innate desire of finite spirit, the individual soul or Atma, to seek true love and fulfillment, being ultimately incompatible with the transient nature of the material world. The world is insufficient to properly fulfill this hankering of the soul. It can only be properly satisfied in loving relation of service to God or spirit. To transcend exploitation and enter into the plane of dedication, where experience is eternally conscious and blissful, in Sanskrit Satchidananda, Vedic wisdom advises materially blinded individuals to humbly accept the affectionate guidance and instruction of a genuine spiritual master, the bona fide representative of Guru Parampara. Om Jana Timirin Hasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshorn Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I offer my obeisance unto Sri Guru Dev, who has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance, with the salve of divine knowledge. 20th century Gaudiya Vaishnava saint and founder Acharya of the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Dev Goswami Maharaj explained, there is a central point by knowing which everything is known, by attaining which everything is attained. The long and short of the entire Vedic advice is to try to find out that center. Therefore, try to find out that center. In the beginning, some may think this is to be a ludicrous claim. By knowing one, everything is known. By getting one, everything is got. What is this? Only a madman can say such a thing. So an analogy is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. When you pour water on the root of a tree, the whole tree is fed. And if you put food in the stomach, the whole body is fed. Similarly, if you do service to the center, everything is served. It is possible. And to do that means to enter the plane of dedication, avoiding the plane of exploitation and also that of renunciation. Try to enter the plane of dedication. Your Atma, your soul proper, is a member of that plane. That is the real world, where this is the perverted reflection. The real world is where every unit is dedicating itself to the whole, represented by the center. Just as in a healthy body, every atom will work for the welfare of the whole body. If an atom works for itself, it exploits to the extreme, and such local works for local interest are clearly bad. Every part of the body and every atom is to work for the welfare of the whole system. There is a center, and by the guidance of that, it will work. Spiritual wisdom concludes that for the sake of which our natural intelligence exists is to inquire beyond the self, finite spirit, and seek to reestablish our relationship of loving service with the fountainhead of pleasure, life, and love, the reservoir of transcendental ecstasies, in Sanskrit, Akila Rasamrita Murti. This is the organic whole, the absolute idea or infinite spirit, of which all individual souls are dependent, part and parcels. This is the Krishna conception of God, the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, where Krishna, literally translated from Sanskrit, means the all-attractive, who infinitely expands into new streams of ever-fresh, Navayovanam, ecstatic pastimes, and loving personal relationships with his divine associates. This, of course, includes the dynamic of God as the Father and the devotees as children, but goes beyond that to elucidate relationships where God is the Son and the devotees are father and mother, or friend, brother, or even consort of Krishna. These relationships show the Supreme Lord's infinite capacity, expressed in ever new ways, which all exist by and for his own purposes. If we can learn to dovetail AI and all other human endeavors in the plane of dedication, then that will be the perfection and ultimate fulfillment of all our lives. Now, this is just the last slide that I'm showing here from Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaja's book, Idols of the Mind versus True Reality. This small diagram is just showing right now many individuals are thinking that perhaps that they are in the center and that all the resources, all experience is meant to fulfill their own individual ends, their own individual sense of fulfillment. And AI is a result of this kind of thinking in order to increase convenience, increase comfort, etc. But what the spiritual ideas, what the Vedic ideas are suggesting is to recognize that we are finite. That should be a very sober and easy thing to recognize, and that we are a part of an infinite context. And that infinite context is both the whole and the center to which all our energy should be directed. So I'll close now and just say, if anyone would like to read this book, Idols of the Mind versus True Reality by Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, it's available worldwide on Amazon, and would be very happy to talk with you further about the ideas presented in this book. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishna Keshava Prabhu, for your nice presentation. And now the floor is open for the questions. Is there anybody have any questions to Krishna Keshava Prabhu?
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. I have a question on the last slide what you had put. That is egocentric, false ego, and theocentric. Could you just give one example to understand that concept?
Sure. Well, basically, what we quoted from Sridhara Maharaja at the end of the presentation, where it's a verse from Bhagavatam, it gives a very direct, empirical explanation about the tree or the stomach, where if you try to water every flower or every fruit of a tree, then nothing will happen. Actually, the whole tree as a whole won't be served. Your energy will be wasted trying to give attention to each part. But if you just water the root, then the whole tree is served. The flowers will be benefited. The fruits will be benefited. All of the tree will be benefited by directing your energy to one point. Similarly, when we eat food, we're not putting food in our ear holes or nose holes or in our nails. We only eat in the stomach. And then when we put the food there, the energy is dispersed by an intelligence that is not our own, right? We have no idea how it works. But anyway, all the energy is distributed properly and everything is maintained. So the idea is to serve the center instead of trying to serve so many provincial interests.
Thank